At 48 years old, Floyd Mayweather, even uttering the words professional return, has shaken the boxing world, because the man who walked away from the sport at 50-0 with his legacy intact now suddenly finds himself the center of a debate that touches greatness, mortality, ego, and danger all at once. Joe Rogan was one of the first major voices to react, and he didn't mince words. He said flat out that the fight would be dangerous, that Floyd's body is no longer efficient, that the reflexes and endurance that once defined the pretty boy and money Mayweather eras simply cannot exist at 48, no matter how strict the training or how disciplined the lifestyle. Rogan's point is that even completing 12 rounds would be a test in itself, and to do so against a fighter as complete, as ruthless, and as intelligent as Terrence "Bud" Crawford could push the scenario from spectacle into outright risk. He warned fans not to be blinded by nostalgia. Mayweather, Rogan said, would look stiff, uncomfortable, and less efficient than ever before, because Father Time always wins. And Rogan isn't alone. Timothy Bradley, himself a former world champion and now a respected analyst, has said the same thing with even greater bluntness. Bradley loves Mayweather, respects him as a GOAT, but when it comes to the reality of 2026, he sees only one outcome: Crawford dominating. He reminded people of Floyd's struggles against Zab Judah in the early rounds years ago. Judah was slick, gifted, a southpaw who made Floyd uncomfortable before losing focus. Bradley's point is that Crawford is like Judah but more. He has Judah's athleticism plus a granite chin, a more ruthless mentality, and a more complete arsenal. To Bradley, Crawford is the most complete fighter he's ever witnessed in real life, and he insisted Crawford would beat Floyd not only today at 48 but even in a mythical prime versus prime matchup. In Bradley's eyes, Crawford's power, reach, switch hitting, and ability to adapt mid-fight would overwhelm Mayweather's shoulder roll and pull counters. Rogan echoed that, noting how Floyd once built excitement by being Pretty Boy Floyd, a fighter willing to exchange, walk you down, and put combinations together. But as the years went on and he became Money Mayweather, the thrill faded. Rogan said flat out that while Floyd remained technically flawless, his fights became less exciting, more about decisions than knockouts, more about control than risk. He became the master of safe dominance, and while that protected the record, it meant fans no longer got those visceral moments. Now imagine an older Floyd, Rogan suggested, stripped even of the efficiency that made those decisions possible, against a Crawford who is firing on all cylinders. That, to Rogan, isn't legacy, that's danger. Still, legacy is exactly why this conversation burns. Floyd's ego has always been part of the story. From calling himself TBE, the best ever, to refusing to rank Muhammad Ali in his own top 5, Mayweather has always demanded the throne. When Crawford dismantled Errol Spence Jr., when he outboxed and broke down Canelo Alvarez in a way that left even Canelo admitting he was beaten by a superior fighter, the whispers grew louder. Is Crawford actually greater? Is Bud the new number one of this era, maybe of all time? Those whispers get under Floyd's skin, and his pull-up challenge toward Crawford is part of that. But Rogan, Bradley, and others think it's pride leading him into a trap. Shane Mosley, another legend who shared the ring with Floyd, has sided with Crawford in this debate. Mosley notes that while Floyd was a master at neutralizing men his size, Crawford is naturally bigger now, fighting at higher weights, carrying real power into the ring. He emphasized the reach difference, the ability to switch stances, and the willingness to engage. In Mosley's view, that combination gives Crawford a clear edge. Oscar de la Hoya has been more cautious, insisting that Floyd's resume and record put him above Bud, but even he admits Crawford's talent is undeniable. Canelo himself went even further, saying that Crawford is way better than Mayweather, a statement that sent shockwaves through the boxing community given that Canelo felt firsthand the dominance of both men. Joe Rogan returned to that idea of danger. He said that when fans dream about these matchups, they think about legacy and fantasy fights, but what they forget is physiology. At 48, recovery is slower, reflexes fade, the lungs don't hold up the same. Floyd may still look sharp hitting mitts or in light exhibitions, but a 12-round championship-level fight against Crawford is another beast entirely. Rogan said Mayweather would be trying really hard, burning energy inefficiently, while Crawford would stay composed, switching stances, probing with that 75-inch reach, waiting for Floyd to reach with that right hand so he could counter and punish him. He said bluntly that Crawford could melt a 49-year-old version of Mayweather, stop him brutally, and erase that 50-0 record forever. Roy Jones Jr. added fuel by questioning Floyd's legacy altogether. Jones argued that beyond Canelo, Mayweather rarely fought the very best at their true peak. He said Pacquiao was taken years too late, Cotto was diminished, others were undersized or past their prime. Jones refused to put Floyd in his own top 5 of all time, insisting that while he could fight brilliantly, he never chased true equals the way Crawford has. In Jones's mind, that record of 50-0, while historic, is inflated compared to the versatile and risk-embracing career Crawford has led. SLAMS, a respected analyst, cautioned against oversimplification. He said Floyd and Crawford represent different eras, different challenges, different approaches. Floyd always stayed true to himself, controlling fights his way, while Crawford adapts to whatever is in front of him. Both deserve respect, but even Bay acknowledged that at 48, Mayweather entering against Bud today isn't a fair fight. It's nostalgia against a predator. Fans themselves are divided. Some beg Floyd not to return, remembering Conor McGregor as the last true pro bout back in 2017, when Floyd was already 40. That was 8 years ago. They fear that one night against Crawford would tarnish the perfect record, that 50-0 would be shattered, and the image of invincibility would crumble. Others are lured by the money and the spectacle, knowing Floyd could rake in $250 million for a single fight, and believing that even in decline, his ring IQ is high enough to at least survive. But surviving, as Rogan warned, is not the same as winning, and against Crawford survival itself is uncertain. Every voice in the debate circles back to the same question. Why? Why risk it? Mayweather has already secured his status as a Hall of Famer, already earned generational wealth, already written himself into history. Why at 48, with exhibitions like the Tyson fight already lined up, would he tempt fate against the most dangerous man in boxing today? Is it ego, money, or the burning refusal to let someone else take his throne? Rogan's words ring out over it all. This is dangerous. And yet the theater of boxing is built on danger. It's built on what ifs, on comebacks, on the belief that maybe, just maybe, greatness can cheat time. That's why the idea of Floyd Mayweather walking out for a professional fight against Terence Crawford still makes the sport stop and hold its breath. Because if he somehow pulled it off, if he somehow survived and even won, the legend would transcend. But if he fails, if Crawford does what Rogan, Bradley, Mosley, and so many others believe he will do, then Floyd Mayweather won't just lose a fight. He will lose the shield of perfection that has defined him for decades. And in that outcome, the danger Rogan spoke of becomes not just physical but eternal, because legacy, once crafted,